going on, Blossoms back? Welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. And yes, after over 2 years of waiting, we finally have rarity changes. Yes, no, this is not just, little changes in our queue. No, we're actually seeing cars cross the border from one rarity to another. We have not seen this in Top Drives for over 2 years. And let's see if, they've learned a thing or two. If we waited this long, hopefully it was worth the anticipation. Maybe the balances are going to be fantastic. Well, oh man, we've got a video on our hands today, so I'm going to turn on my camera here and we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Alright y'all, we're starting to go with the comments over here. We're going to talk about the downgrades and the changes, at least the changes that I deem significant to myself. If I miss a couple of cars that got changes, probably means that I didn't really care. But I'm going to begin with every single uncommon that has gone down. What are the new cars that are joining the common class of 2025, if you will? Well, we've got 6 new commons entering the class. We've got the Alpha Suds, the Fiat Kubo, the Nissan Datsun, Buick Century, and Alpha Spider. Now, this video is not primarily a rant. I want you guys to know this. This video is not primarily a rant. There will be a rant, but not today. This is more of an informative video, okay? So I'm just telling you right now that we have 6 new commons, and I do think that is a very small number considering that we had to wait for over 2 years. I expected a little bit more in-depth changes, I would say. I feel like you could do more than 6 cars changing around in RQ. Why only 6? I don't know. But anyway, a lot of these, well, not a lot, but some of these cars did get some massive changes as well, which which makes me understand why they're also getting a rarity change. Some of these cars are getting their tires changed, or their handling change, or something like that. We'll go through the significant ones, like I said. So we're going to begin with the Alpha Set. It used to be an RQ22, and it went down to an RQ15. Now, as you can see, we've got the old photo and the new photo. That's the before and after. If you want to see what the changes really look like, dude, shout out Top Drives Club, seriously, because Top Drives Club is so damn slow in updating anything. I can still go on their website and find the old photos before the rarity change. So it's great. Like, it made this video possible, actually. So tires change for the Alpha Set. Tire change from standard tires to performance tires, so it's becoming a performance tire car, and the RQ decreased by 7. I gotta say, I think it's a bit of a win in my personal opinion for the Alpha Set. I think that this Alpha Set was pretty useless as a standard tire car, but here's the performance. There are not a lot of performance tire commons that handle pretty well. This is gonna get 83 handling. It's not to say that there isn't any, but I will welcome a performance tire car with over 80 handling into the common niche. So yeah, I think that this is a good place for the Alpha Set now at RQ15. It might actually get more use than when it did at RQ22. Another significant change is this one here, the Alpha Sud. I owned 2 of these as an uncommon because it looked pretty good as an uncommon. It was RQ21, it was super lightweight, and if you fully upgraded it, the main thing about what made this car pretty enticing to me as an uncommon was that 86 handling. If you max out this car back, when it had its old stats, it had 86 handling, which was pretty cool. Well, guess what? The handling has decreased by 4, and the RQ has decreased by 5. So it lost its handling. It's not that grippy anymore. 74 handling stock. That's not the greatest thing in the world. It's like 80. What is that? 81, 82 now when you fully upgrade that. Again, it is a performance tire common, with plus 80 handling. So I guess in a sense it brings it in the same pool as the previous Alpha Set, but also at the same time, this doesn't hit the same because of what it used to be, an 86 handling car, but not anymore. So that's a bit of a sad one as well. Now moving on to another change, Alpha Spider. So a lot of Italian changes at the start. One thing I realized with this update rarity change is there was an emphasis on Italian and French cars, which is a bit annoying because I'm just like, if we waited 2 years, why are we just focusing on Italian and French cars? Shouldn't we be, focusing on the entirety common and uncommon balance change as a whole? We waited 2 years for this. I expected more, okay, just to put it simply. But the Alpha Spider Quadrifoglio Verde is the next one. RQ decreased by 4, handling decreased by 3. So this has also gone down from uncommon to common. And then I also want to talk about this one, pretty interesting one, the Pontiac Tempest. Okay, so this didn't change in rarity, but the tires changed. So it went from performance tires to standard tires. No other changes. Top speed hasn't changed. 0 to 60 hasn't changed. Handling doesn't change. But the tires change. And the RQ increased by 7. Okay, and this was the thing that I found really interesting, right? So we've talked about the Alpha set at the start of the video. We talked about the Pontiac Tempest at the start of the video. Both of these cars got tire changes, right? One went from performance to standard, and one went from standard to performance. And they both got an RQ change of 7. Okay, I can see the sense in that. But now let's look at the Renault Clios. So the RQ18 Renault Clio got an upgrade. It got 4 handling in its buff, okay? It got 4 more handling points. It went from 71 stock to 75. Then the uncommon Renault Clio from 2005 also got a 4 handling buff. It went from 70 to 74. So these two cars went through the same exact change. They had their handling increase both by 4, but tell me why the 2005 uncommon Renault Clio gets an RQ increase of 3, going from 20 to 23. However, the RQ18 Renault Clio went from RQ18 to 19 with an RQ increase of 1. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, at least on an on-paper level, we'll have to look at the times and see, if this Renault Clio is, a lot better than everything else as an RQ19 standard front-wheel drive, or if it's pretty competitive. I couldn't get you the times because in Top Drive's records right now, there are actually not a lot of times with this Renault Clio. But just on paper, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. These two cars, they used to be 2 RQ apart. Now they are 4 RQ apart. One got a 3 RQ upgrade. One got a 1 RQ upgrade, even though both of them got 4 handling to their name. Again, as you can see, like I said, this is not a rant video. This is going to be more of an informative video. And to remind myself of that, we're going to add the Blossom irritation level at the bottom. I'm a little irritated by this, but we move on. Let's talk about the changes. So, next one is the Renault Megane. This got a handling increase by 3. 1 handling less than the other Clios, and yet the RQ increased by 2. So, again, you're telling me that the Clio, the 2016 Clio, got a handling increase of 4, upgraded by 1 RQ, but this Megane got a handling increase of 3, but the RQ increased by 2? Okay, sure. But this one kind of makes sense because this is a way lower 0 to 60 compared to that other Clio as well. Anyway, moving on. I know they're all Clio, so that might be a little bit confusing. Here's a big one. The Renault Fuego Turbo, okay? This is huge because this was already a very good common. It had really good MRA for a common. It has like 64 MRA, just to let you guys know, but it had good MRA. It's got a decent top speed, decent 0 to 60. Now it has a handling buff as well. So the handling increased by 6. That's huge. And the RQ increase by 3. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, some cars get a handling increase by 4, but, the RQ only increased by 1. This got a handling increase by 6, but it got a RQ increase by 3. I don't know, man. I really don't know how the balancing works sometimes, but I tell you what, though, this car was already pretty good as a dragster, but now with that handling increase, as you can see over here, man, you now see, at least as at the time of recording this video, the Renault Fuego Turbo is going to be the best common for fast circuit and fast circuit rolling. So, yeah, just have a look at that. The best fast circuit common car now at the time of recording is a 332 Renault Fuego, and the best fast circuit rolling common car at the time of this recording is a 323 Renault Fuego, beating things like the Alpha Spider, Datsun 240Z, 2000 GTV, and also the Spider Veloce. So pretty insane stuff coming from this Fuego. Definitely a common that you want to collect. Anyway, moving on to some other changes. GMC Caballero Diablo went from RQ11 to 19, mainly because it went from performance tires to standard. Sure. Has a handling increase of 3 and the RQ increase by 8. I don't think it's going to be a very good RQ19. I mean, it's the same stats. It just goes from performance to standard. Who the hell cares? That doesn't make much of a difference. Yeah, you can use this in the wet now, but what? Are you going to use it in the wet twisty with 63 handling? Even with the handling increase, it's not going to be that useful. It just goes from a performance dragster to a wet dragster. Again, it's still not going to be good. I think this is a massive nerf towards the car. I would still use like a Mercedes-Benz. And speaking about, standard dragsters, the Chrysler Drifter van has received another change. The tire type changes from performance to standard. RQ increased by 6, the handling decreased by 4. Okay, so some people might say, oh, this might be a pretty good standard tire drag. Now it's got a low 0 to 60, top speed of over 100 miles per hour, which is pretty decent for a common. Well, I wouldn't be worried about it, honestly. That Mercedes-Benz 600 is still the premier dragster for the standard tire common stuff. As you can see, beats the drifter on quarter mile, half mile, 1 mile, 0 to 100. Don't worry about it, man. This is a pretty inconsequential change. The Chrysler drifter remains a useless common. It's kind of funny because sometimes these cars, they get rarity changes so they can shake up the meta, but then again, you have cars like this that just remain useless anyway. Anyway, moving on. Oh, this one, oh my. Okay, so you know how we were talking about, like, you know, some cars getting like handling increases, but their RQ fluctuates. Some get a 1 RQ increase, some get a 3 RQ increase, some just change rarities altogether. Well, for the Chrysler Town and Country, ladies and gentlemen, the RQ has increased by 4. The RQ did not change at all. It went from 19 to 19. I don't understand who makes these balance changes. I mean, is it actually just Robin? Because dude does not know his shit sometimes, dude. Okay, Chrysler Town and Country, okay? Handling increase by 4. The RQ doesn't increase. Surely this car should go to uncommon, considering that it was already an RQ 19 and it got a 4 handling buff. So it makes me think, okay, there can be a scenario where this car gets a 4 handling buff, but it still remains a common. That means that if this happens, it means that before, in the old days, the Chrysler Town and Country was, you know, a ridiculously overrated RQ19. It was a terrible RQ19, and with the handling upgrade, it will make it competitive among other RQ19s. But the thing is, the Chrysler Town and Country is not competitive with RQ19s. It is slapping uncommons. Look at this. Best car on hairpin, karting, twisty circuit rolling, twisty road, fast circuit. I'm not even comparing it up against commons at this point. It's being very competitive against RQ20s. I didn't put the time at the bottom for the Nissan Wingroad. Wingroad is still the way superior car. But the fact that the Chrysler Town and Country is slapping things around like the Geo and the Skodas, the RQ20, Peugeot 307, the Stargazers, the Volvo 440 SI, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you tell me, man, how the hell is this thing RQ19? Or I'd rather be in a universe where the Chrysler Town and Country doesn't go up to 19. But all these RQ20s, the Hyundai Stargazer, the 440, the new Beetle, the Volkswagen Fox, all go down to common. You know how early on in the video I said that I felt that after 2 years of waiting, only seeing 6 cars drop down to common was a little bit lackluster? Well, like I said, we waited for 2 years and we're still seeing issues like this. The Chrysler Town and Country is just way better than cars in a rarity way above it. It doesn't make any sense, but like I said, I'd rather see the RQ20s that you see here go down to common rather than the Chrysler go up, if that makes sense. Because cars are only going to get better, cars are only going to handle better, they're only going to be faster. There's no point making older cars, going up in RQ. It doesn't make any sense to me. So again, I still think that the game is still incredibly unbalanced, even with this very lackluster rarity change. But again, Blossom's irritation level slightly going up. Anyway, let's talk about the common upgrades. Okay, so we got more upgrades. We got a lot of commons going up to uncommon. I mean, double the amount of the other direction. We only saw like 6. We saw 6 cars go down. Well, we see 12 cars go up. So the Subaru R2 goes up, Renault Twizy goes up, Barracuda, Peugeot 208, Fiat S76, the Peugeot Ion. Then we got the BB1, the Skylark, the 360, the Tahoe, the Cubic, and the Hogar. I gotta be completely honest, man. If you told me to predict the commons that were going up in RQ, I think I would have only named 2 out of the 12 that actually went up. The 2 cars that I saw going up, that I would have predicted going up to uncommon, would be this Plymouth Barracuda Formula S. Okay, that makes sense. The thing is good. Thing is really good. And then, of course, the Chevy Tahoe. I would think that those 2 would have gone up. I can see why the Citroen Cubic would go up, but then again, I don't think it was an end-all be-all common. It wasn't like it wasn't beating everything, it was trading blows with other RQ19 commons out there. And now moving up to 25 I think is way too big of a jump. The Hoggar, I can see the Hoggar going up because, you know, it went from standard to all surface. But like I said, I only predicted the Tahoe. I would have only predicted the Tahoe and the Barracuda based off the stats if no stats ever changed. So let's talk about some changes though. Volvo 360 GLT. So this has gone from common to uncommon, RQ19 to 24. Tires changed from performance tire to standard, and the handling has increased by 2. So it handles a little bit better, and the fact that it's gone from performance to standard is a bit of a plus. So that ain't too bad. Then we got the Peugeot Ion as well. Handling increased by 4. The 0 to 60 decreased by 0.3. That means that the RQ also increased by 5, which I think is a little bit too much for this. I don't think it was a great common anyway. Then we have the Hoggar. Okay, Hoggar, yeah, RQ increased by 10, handling increased by 2, standard tires changed to all surface tires, so it's changing up the meta a little bit. You know, you can use it in the dirt and stuff a little bit more. It's a little bit more useful in the off-road scenarios now. And then we've got the Peugeot BB1. This makes no sense to me. So this car received no upgrades at all. You know, it stayed the same. 0 to 60 was still nada. Top speed still 56. Handling still 70. No changes at all. But Hutch decided to make it go from RQ 70 to 23. Why? Seriously, why? I don't understand. Look at this, for example, okay? So at the bottom is the performance of the Peugeot BB1. I just compared it up against like a Mitsubishi MIEV, a very similar car, front-wheel drive, right? No, not front-wheel drive, but I think it's like, you know, standard tires. I think it's real. I can't remember what the drive was, but it's a standard tire car, okay? That's RQ23, and it beats the BB1 everywhere. Besides the slalom, right? You've got things like the RQ23 Ion that beats the BB1 everywhere but the slalom. We got the Suzuki Forenza that beats all these cars, by the way. I'm comparing it. It's a very small sample size, but they're all RQ23. And you can see that the Peugeot BB1 is completely out of its depth. It's beating it's losing everywhere besides the slalom. And I saw somewhere that, you know, freaking Robin, dude, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what he's smoking. But, like, he's saying things like, oh, you know, this car is a specialist. You know, the fact that it shines, it shines on one specific track set, slalom only, is enough reason for us to bring it up in RQ. And I'm just like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Like, you've got cars like the Mazda Roadster NRA. That is so incredibly dominant. Slap it. It's the best uncommon twisty dry performance. Okay, we've already known this, so we've talked about this car many times on the channel. It's capable of beating some of the better RQ30s like the MX-5s. This thing is so completely dominant, and it doesn't even go up in RQ. It stays as an RQ29 for crying out loud, okay? But instead, Hutch wants to focus on this little BB1 because it's just, you know, a little better on the slalom, but so much worse everywhere else. But because it's so good on the slalom, they're like, yeah, we're bringing it up a rarity. But for the Mazda Roadster NRA, the fact that this thing is literally just a Thanos for twisty performance tire, low ground clearance uncommons, they don't even bother moving that, because apparently what they see here with the Peugeot BB1 is way more broken than what they see with the Mazda Roadster. Again, it's not a rant video. It's not a rant video. But I'm fucking irritated. I really am. Okay, let's end up with a high. Chevy Tahoe. This one makes sense. This one actually makes sense. Tires changed from standard to all surface. RQ increased by 9. There are no changes in terms of stats, but like I said, I think it makes sense. Chevy Tahoe is a great dragster, okay? As you can see, when it comes to the sand, when it comes to the dirt, it is one of the best dragsters that you can use for the uncommon, especially, well, not especially. I mean, the Pajero was never a competition for the drags anyway. It beats things like the Ford F100. It beats things like the Citroen Mahari, which has went up to 28. I don't know why, by the way. It beats things like the Holden Suburban as well, which is pretty nice. I guess it trades blows with the Holden Suburban. The Suburban wins on the ice and then the quarter mile and the half mile snow. But definitely you can see that the Tahoe, you know, it's acclimating pretty well within its RQ range. So this one makes sense, and this is settling in nicely. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. I will be coming back with a video similar to this. but with the uncommon changes. And I mean, I'm not even ready for the rants for like things like the AutoZam and the Nissan and oh my goodness. Okay, anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. That's like part 1 of the Rarity changes. Let me know down in the comments below whether you agree or disagree. Some people, some people are mad. I've seen that they're unhappy that a lot of their meta cars aren't meta anymore. I'm not mad that those old meta cars like the AutoZam are not meta anymore. I'm just mad that we waited 2 years for such an half-assed approach to Rarity changes. I think that this was really lackluster. I could do these Rarity changes in a week, which is just really sad. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe. Wash your hands. Robin, get your shit together.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight.